Jefferson County Court at Law #2 is back in session in the court's arraignment docket. We're in session in cause number 331040. Case to style of State of Texas versus Willie Drew. Mr. Willie Drew, would you please come forward? Mr. Drew, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Drew, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? Mr. Drew, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Drew? That's good. Mr. Drew, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line stating that I want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Drew, I also have another document here. This document is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this document, Mr. Drew, there's a set of initials on the line that's titled Defendant Signature. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Drew, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
Is everything true and correct in these documents?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Drew, I've read these documents. I've read the affidavit of indigence, and based on your response in the affidavit of indigence, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And your attorney that is going to be appointed to represent you, an attorney by the name of Bruce Cobb. Mr. Drew, you can stand on the 4X in front of our court coordinator, and she's going to give you all the information you need regarding Mr. Cobb and your court date. Let's see, this is true. Mr. Drew, once you finish with our court coordinator, you'll be free to leave. You have a blessed day and have a Merry Christmas. Next case is cause number 331174 and cause number 331026. Both cases are styled of State of Texas versus Pamela Irvin. Ms. Irvin, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Irvin, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ms. Irvin, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Irvin? You okay? That's good. Now, Ms. Irvin, I have before me a document that's titled Judge's Explanation of Rights of Defense Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that says defendant? And are these your initials on the line saying, I want to apply for a court-appointed attorney? Ms. Irvin, also have before me a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this document, there's a signature on the line that's titled Defender Signature. Is that your signature?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Irvin, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did you read the documents? And did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Irvin, I read your affidavit of indigence. You meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And your attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Giles Cole. Ms. Irvin, you're going to stand on the X. Well, sit in the chair behind that gentleman right here. Yes, and then the court coordinator will call you up to the window. Once she calls you up to the window, and once you finish at the window, you'll be free to leave. You have a blessed day and Merry Christmas. Byron Perry. Okay. Mr. Perry, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Perry, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Perry, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Perry?
Well, and yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Perry. I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir. I do.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
It is.
And are these your initials on the line stating that I want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
And this next document is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant Signature. Is that your signature?
It is.
Now, Mr. Perry, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir. I do.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I see here where you just had the 4,000 as a, is that an asset? Is it a house or a car,
Vehicle.
a vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Perry, I've read your affidavit. You meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of court-appointed attorney. And the attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Peter Doyle. Mr. Perry, you're gonna, I'm gonna have you to have a seat, that black and yellow tape. And then once she finished with it, when she goes up to the window, then you'll go take her seat.
Yes, sir.
And then once you finish at the window, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day and Merry Christmas.
Same as.
Richard Nolan. Really? Mr. Nolan, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Nolan, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Nolan, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Nolan?
All right.
That's good. Mr. Nolan, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line stating that you want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Nolan, I have another document here. This document is titled the Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that states defendant signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Nolan, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Nolan. I read your documents. You meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. And your attorney that is going to be appointed to represent you in this case is Mark Faggett. Mr. Nolan, you're gonna have a seat in the middle chair right there. And then once that gentleman moves, you're gonna take his seat. And once you finish at the window, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. Oh, yeah, I have another document I need to give him. Could you get this to him? I need to go over another document with you. No, I already got a copy. Mr. Nolan, you just been handing out a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that document?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will go over this document with you, and it reads, following arrest and/or accusation in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number 1, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body. And that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, Section A2 and Section C2. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with the alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition?
Yes.
And condition number 4 does not apply to you. That only applies in the DWI case. Your case is not a DWI case. So, Mr. Nolan, if you violate any one of the terms and condition of this probation, of this bond, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, you can be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Nolan, you're gonna have a seat in the middle chair. And once you finish, when you go up to the window, once you finish at the window, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day and Merry Christmas. Alan Carpenter. Ms. Carpenter, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Carpenter, you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Carpenter, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Carpenter?
Good.
That's good, Ms. Carpenter. I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
And are these your initials on the line stating that you want to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
And the next document is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? And on page 2 of this document, Ms. Carpenter, are these your initials on the line that's titled Defendant's Signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Carpenter, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Ms. Carpenter, I read your affidavit, and based upon let me ask you something now. You stated that you have 2 kids,
Yes, sir.
is that correct? And oh, you got child expenses, $500. Now, the food that you and your children eat is only $300 a month?
Well, it's probably more than that. I wasn't.
Well, you need to put, be as close to accurate as possible.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm basing my decision that we base it is based upon what you put on this here document. Okay, she can have a seat. Okay, she can have a seat at that table right there. You can, if you need a sister, you can assist. Next case is cause number 330754. Case of style of state of Texas versus Justin Weber. Is it Weber? Weber? Oh, Weber had 2 B's. Okay, okay. Okay. Mr. Weber, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Weber, do you swear to tell the truth, swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Weber, I have before me a document that is titled um, Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials online stating you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney? And the next document is titled Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this document, Mr. Weber, there is a signature on the line that's titled Defendant Signature. That's your signature.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Weber, prior to signing and initiating these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, Mr. Weber, let's see. Okay. Let me ask you something. I see here, you said you have 2 kids,
Yes, sir.
and apparently, does the kids live with you?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
I just thought you were supposed to list them.
Yeah, no, I'm just, they say dependents. I mean, you are listing them as dependents. I just didn't know whether or not they live with you or not.
They do.
Because I see here, you said your food expenses like 200 a month.
Yes, sir. Well, it's more than 200. I just.
Okay,
I
well,
thought that just meant for me. That's about what I was saying.
okay, let me do this here. I'll just do some simple math. And we just do 200 divided by 30 days. So you spend about $6 a day? $6?
I mean, I cook and then I meal prep basically.
Hmm?
I meal prep basically. I cook like a roast, week and I eat it all day.
Okay,
You know,
okay. I'm just trying to figure out how much, but you said earlier it was a little more. And your expenses, is that child support or
No, that did not have child support.
I see that says child expenses including child support paid.
Well, yeah, it's paid. I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry.
My question is, I'm looking at the line that says, right here,
Yes, sir.
it says total child expenses, including child support paid.
I did see the child support part.
Did you pay child support?
Yes, sir, I did.
So, okay, he needs to include that in here then.
Yeah, I did. So,
Okay, have a seat. She can come back on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come back to you. You need to include that in there. And another thing is when we talk about, and this is probably for both y'all, I don't know if y'all did it, but in reference to the transportation, that includes your gas and, repairs on the car, car note, car insurance, or whatever. So I didn't know if y'all did that or not. Okay. Okay, Ms. Carpenter? Now, see that you made some additional changes on this document. So is everything on this document that I'm speaking of, the affidavit of indigence, is everything on this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Carpenter, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Your attorney that's going to be appointed to represent you is named David Grove. Your name is that Kylan?
Colin, yes.
Kylan, right? Okay, Mr. Carpenter, you're gonna have a seat in that first chair. The attorney that's gonna be appointed to represent you is Attorney David Grove. Once you finish here with our court coordinator, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day and Merry Christmas. You are. That's one page. Mr. Weber? This is cause number 330754. Case of South State of Texas versus Justin Leon Weber. Mr. Weber, read your affidavit of indigence. And is everything in this document true? You previously been sworn in, is that correct?
Yes,
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
yes, sir. To the best.
Okay, Mr. Weber, you meet the eligibility requirement for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. Your attorney that's been appointed to represent you, Attorney Jack Lawrence. Mr. Weber, you guys have a seat at that table, and then when she gets up, you'll go replace her, and after that, you'll go to the window. And once you go to the window and finish at the window with our court coordinator, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day and Merry Christmas.
You too.